Hey, this is Kelly Street here with Sam Maher, our Director of Operations at AttorneySync. And I'm going to talk to him today about ROI for your digital marketing efforts. Hey, Sam.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Very well, very well. So let's just get into it. The first thing we want to start off with, because we get this question a lot from both our clients wondering about their return on investment for their ad spend and their marketing spend, and also from potential clients of how am I going to know that this is working, is how can you work with your digital marketing agency to figure out your ROI?
Sure. Well, the most important thing is making sure that you're doing whatever you can to track all your digital marketing efforts. The easiest way to do this is to implement call tracking, form fill tracking, chat tracking, um, tracking for anything that you're paying for, really. TV ads, radio, print, any third-party directory that you're listed in or paying for. Um, and the goal is to track all of those, track any type of lead that's coming into your firm back to one of these sources. And the best way to do that is to implement call tracking. So anyone that comes into your website or calls a specific call tracking number, you can say, okay, this person called our firm and they were a lead from our Google My Business profile or our Avo listing or something along those lines. Once you get all that tracking put into place, you can start tracking those leads back to where they are most frequent, where they're coming from, where they're the cheapest, where they're the most expensive, and which ones of those leads are actually turning into cases. So
Yeah.
one of your sources, say Facebook, may generate a whole bunch of leads, but if they're not turning into cases, do you really want to be spending any money there?
Yes. And I think the thing you mentioned of cost per lead or cost per client acquisition, that's a big part of it is if you're spending a ton of money on those Facebook leads and then they are turning into cases, but you're getting just as many leads from some other source and it's half the cost per lead, you know where you should put more money versus the other source.
Right. Part of tracking in general is making conscious decisions about where the best place to put your money is. And
Yeah.
that is typically the best place is which source is generating the most cases, not necessarily the most leads.
Yeah. So this next question might be a little bit more of a math problem than anything, and that's how can a law firm figure out their CPA or their cost per acquisition?
Sure. It all starts with implementing tracking. So once you have all your tracking put into place, you can use tools like we use CallRail for call tracking. You can use things like Lexicata does it, or you could even import all of your leads into a Google Doc or Excel or something along those lines, and you track all of your expenses, how much you're paying for a certain campaign, and then how many leads that generated, and then of those leads, how many actually turned into a case. So based on, you had 5 leads, one turned into a case, those 5 leads cost you $1,000, your cost per acquisition is $1,000.
There you go. Fairly easy, not too bad.
No.
So how do you know what the ROI is on a digital marketing campaign?
Similar to how you would figure out your cost per acquisition, well, I guess it's quite different. The ROI is the value that you can deduce from the cases that you've gotten from this specific campaign. So if your digital marketing campaign has produced 5 cases and they're all worth X, let's say $1,000, your total value for that digital marketing campaign is $5,000. If you put in $1,000 for that campaign, you have an ROI of $4,000 minus whatever other expenses may be related to that specific campaign. So your return on investment is the value of those cases minus the cost of the campaign itself, and maybe minus the cost of, if you have internal resources working on those campaigns as well, you would want to reduce. You would want to include those in the subtraction.
Very cool. What are your best tips for attribution and lead tracking?
Best tips. Use any sort of call tracking system. Like we said, CallRail is easy to use, easy to implement. It can be a great source for figuring out, this many calls are coming in from our website. You can go in there and track whether leads are good or bad. You can take out static numbers and enter them into your Google My Business profile, so you can see how many people are actually calling your Google My Business profile, as opposed to going into your website and calling your website. Your Google My Business profile generates a lot of views, and not everyone goes to your website after that. So if you're doing online marketing, that is where the point is to increase your online visibility. The best ways to track that is to track how many calls you're generating via your Google My Business profile. Another thing would be using parameters, UTM parameters, for tracking your paid media campaigns or your email campaigns or your social campaigns. So you can attribute different types of direct traffic to your analytics, and you can attribute those back to any sort of efforts.
Yeah, those are really easy to add to. There are lots of free services where you can just fill in the information and it comes up with populates for you, and you don't have to do any special work. And then there you go. It's easy, much easier to track than just putting a link and guessing where things came from.
Yep, exactly.
Awesome. Any other tips on digital marketing ROI, or any little nuggets of wisdom to share, since you've been doing this for almost a decade now?
Not that I can think of. Just track anything you can.
Track it.
Anytime you pay for something online, offline, use call tracking codes, use UTM parameters, ask people when they call, how did you find us?
Yes.
It's not always accurate, but it's better than nothing at all.
Yes. On the off chance that someone remembers that, I just typed into Google car accident lawyer, Indianapolis, that information is gold when you can get it. So.
Exactly.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sam.
Thank you.